Okay. Did her mother ultimately and dad come to stay with them?
Yes.
How long did they stay with them?
I don't know.
When you talked to the mother and the father, did you say to them, what is she doing? How does she appear? Is she in bed all day? What did they tell you?
They never called my office, so I never spoke with them.
They never called your office?
They never called me or sent a message, so I did not have communication with them.
So that's their fault, but they didn't call you, the doctor, I guess, right?
Sustained. Next question.
So, do you think maybe it would be reasonable if you're the doctor and you're investigating your patient's symptomology that you might, when you know that the parents are staying with her, that you would make a phone call yourself?
It's not typical when you have an adult who is able to advocate for themselves to speak with their parents.
So while she is telling you about her symptomology and tearfulness and crying and unable to get up and anxiety and the medications and the mental illness that she had, you felt that she could advocate for herself?
Yes.
Okay, on the television, on the computer.
Yes.
The next time you saw her was on October 26th, is that correct? And you can pull up your record.
Yes.
Now, and if you look again at the interval history where you put down what's going on in the patient's life that time, this is when she indicated that she's back to where she felt that she was before Zoloft, which was not great, and that you guys were considering a new medication. Is that right?
Yes.
And then you started her on Ativan, as we talked about, right?
Yes.
And then you started her on the buspirone, right?
Well, she had already been started on the Ativan, and then we added the buspirone.
So my question was, you started her on buspirone, right?
Yes.
Okay. And also you added hydroxyline as needed, right?
Yes.
And you continued the Ativan, correct?
Yes.
Did you discuss side effects with her at that point?
Yes.
Did you also discuss starting Remeron or pregabalin?
Yes.
What did you tell her about Remeron and pregabalin?
I don't think I went into any detail about those medicines, just that those might be things to consider in the future.
And then you saw her on October 31st, right?
That was her. I think that was just a therapy appointment with a different provider.
Would that be Jennifer McAllister?
Yes.
So it's a different provider in the sense that she works for Astor, right?
Well, yes, it just wasn't myself.
Right. So on October 31st, they did a suicide assessment, or she did, right, McAllister?
I wasn't there.
Well, I know you weren't there, but these are medical records that have been introduced into evidence that the jury's going to have in the jury room.
Objection, is that a question?
No, good. Next question.
McAllister did a suicide assessment, apparently, right?
I'm sure she assessed
No,
for
no, no. Look
suicide.
at the record, please.
Mm-hmm. Where do you see it? Sorry.
Where it says suicide assessment. There's only 4 pages for October 31st.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there would be 8 because it's 2 sides.
So that is the assessment that you go through. If somebody reports any thoughts of suicide, then you ask those questions, which go into a lot more detail about them.
So here you have a patient who's already reported to you as a psychiatrist that she's got suicidal ideation, worried about suicide, worried about killing herself days before October 31st, and a suicide assessment was done by McAllister, right?
I wasn't there. You would have to ask her.
Well, maybe I will, if she comes in.
Okay.
Why don't you tell me what the record shows? Did they do a suicide assessment? Did she check off the little boxes?
I'm looking for that section. It says That patient denies suicidal or homicidal ideation at this time.
Okay, so again, this is on October 31st, right?
Yes.
The patient, within a period of a couple of days and meetings with you, that McAllister has access to because the records are within your business, right?
It's not my business, but yes.
Has reported suicidal ideation and fear and dwelling about killing herself and afraid of those thoughts, right?
Let's see. I just want to be absolutely clear. No. So yes, a little
Yes,
while
yes, yes.
earlier, she had voiced those concerns.
Right. So as a result of voicing those concerns, is it your understanding that McAllister did not do any of the suicide assessment questions because Lindsay reported that she wasn't suicidal?
It appears that she asked about
Right, you
suicidality.
already told us that. I'm asking you about, excuse me.
Hold on. Ask the next question. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm not asking you. You've told us 3 times now that she says she was not suicidal when she spoke to McAllister. I'm asking you about the suicide assessment for the 3rd time. You see it in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me, did Lindsay answer any of the questions that were asked over the 2 pages, possibly 3, of the suicide assessment? Yeah, 3, done by McAllister.
I don't see anything written here.
So was there a suicide assessment?
I don't know because I wasn't there. I don't know what the
And you don't
conversation
know from looking
was.
at the records, right?
From looking at the records, I don't see evidence of additional suicidal questions beyond asking if it was there or not.
So, the suicidal assessment, doctor, is in the medical records. It consumes almost 4 pages, does it not? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And all of the questions, like asking, have you felt life is not worth living? Is death something you thought about recently? Are you dwelling on that? What leads up to the thoughts? What are the thoughts? All those questions, right? For 4 pages, right?
Yes.
And there is not one notation indicating that that test was ever administered to her on October. Okay, that's all. That's fine. December 1st was the next appointment, correct? And you can look at the interval history.
Yes.
Now, on that December 1st appointment, this is after she had transferred to South Shore.
Yes.
She disclosed to you that she had been seeing South Shore, right?
Yes.
We already talked about the fact that you never got the records from South Shore, so you don't know, other than what Lindsay reported to you, what medications she was on, right?
Right. I knew what she was telling me.
Right, and she told you that she was doing the Ativan taper, right?
Well, she said she had tried doing that, but that then she was having worse sleep.
Having difficulty sleeping is what she indicated to you, right?
Yes.
And she tried other meds that you had suggested, but stated that she was having difficulty with those meds, including trazodone, right?
Well, the trazodone she didn't have a problem with. It just didn't seem like it was particularly helpful.
Right. Did you prescribe the trazodone or somebody else?
This was somebody else.
So, do you know what the milligrams were that she was on?
It says she tried between 50 and 150 milligrams.
All right. Now, did she at some point try Remeron?
She said that she did.
Did you suggest in your discussions that she try Remeron?
No, I did not.
Did she indicate to you that she had rebound anxiety and intrusive thoughts, that she was going to die? Do you recall that?
Well, she said worse depression and intrusive thoughts.
Okay. Did she tell you what the intrusive thoughts were?
It was the feeling like I'm going to die.
Did she then have a script for Prozac, 10 milligrams?
That's what she said.
And she said that she couldn't sleep and had worse sleep, so that had to be stopped, right?
Yes.
Then she was on Klonopin, right?
Yes.
And what is Klonopin?
It's a benzodiazepine.
And on December 1st is when she told you, again, that she was close to having suicidal ideation, feeling hopeless. You recall that?
Yes.
Now, on the interval history, on that date, you indicated that she can't sleep, she's panicking, she had worse depression, intrusive thoughts, she was numb, nothing mattered, I feel like I'm going to die, denies suicidal ideation, but, quote, yesterday, close to it, feeling hopeless. Did you give her therapy and validations after she told you that?
I believe that I did.
What did you do? You got a woman that's telling you that she's hopeless. She doesn't care if she dies. Can't sleep. What did you do to validate on your therapy?
Well, I told her that this was something that we could address, that there was hope, that there were treatments, and there are different types of treatment programs that are more supportive, like partial hospitalization programs. So she knew that she still had options and a reason to hope.
Did you ever suggest to her that maybe you ought to come in and see me rather than talk on the computer?
Talking with her over the video did not seem like an issue. It didn't seem like there was anything that I was missing or that there was any need to see her in person.
Now, you'd agree with me that in December of 2022, COVID was all done, right?
It wasn't completely all done.
Were you still nervous about dealing with people and wearing masks and stuff, or were you able to sit down and talk to somebody face to face?
We were definitely feeling more comfortable about being face to face with people, but I think, it was still something that we thought about.
You discussed trying Seroquel with her at that point, right?
I didn't really discuss it. She had told me that was something that she had discussed with her other provider.
So looking at your notes, does it say also discussed trying Seroquel alone tonight? Did your notes say that?
It says yes, but I wasn't making a recommendation about the Seroquel. It was just a medicine I was providing her more information on.
So you were telling her about the Seroquel? You're providing information?
Yes, we were talking about the Seroquel.
Right. Why?
Because her other provider had recommended that she started it.
What is Seroquel?
It's an antipsychotic.
You also discussed with her the possibility of undiagnosed bipolar disorder, did you not?
It was discussed.
And undiagnosed bipolar disorder was, in your opinion, as a result of, not a reaction, but extreme reaction to the SSRIs, right?
Not as a result of the SSRIs, but that
Does your note say, and I quote, also discussed possibility of undiagnosed bipolar disorder given extreme reaction to SSRIs and insomnia, period. Does it say that?
Yes.
Those are your notes, right?
Yes, the way you were saying it made it sound a little bit different before, but that's exactly what I wrote.
I read it directly from your note, right? How did I make it sound different?
I don't know. It sounded different the first time you said it than the second.
So did she have bipolar?
No.
Did you make that decision that night, that day?
I assessed that with her pretty much every time that I saw her, and she never had mania.
What about mood stabilizer like Lamictal? Did you discuss that with her?
Yes.
What is Lamictal?
It's an anticonvulsant, but it's used in treating mood disorders.
So what was the end result of your meeting with her on December 1st? What did you guys do? Did you give any recommendations, advice, anything?
Yeah, well, so at this time, I was not prescribing her medications, but I was still concerned, not concerned enough that she was at imminent risk of hurting herself or anybody else, given what she said. But we had a plan for her to pursue a partial hospitalization program.
Where was that?
Well, the one that I had recommended was HRI.
What is that, HRI?
It's a hospital in Brookline.
And did she ultimately go to another hospital?
She ultimately went to the Women and Infants Hospital for one day.
And those are the records that you didn't get, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you decided that she did not have bipolar disorder because, in your opinion, she did not meet, and I quote, the criteria, right? That would be the criteria in the DSM, right?
Yes.
And the DSM, of course, is the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, Roman numeral 5, R, meaning text revision, right?
Yes.
Is that what you were using back then? Would be this thing here? DSM-5, TR? Just the DSM, right? It's like a cookbook, right?
It's more of a guideline that we use to, to help us in our treatment, but it's not the psychiatry Bible that people sometimes think that it is.
Right. Hypomanic bipolar disorder. How many days does that require under the DSM?
A hypomanic episode lasts for at least 4 days.
And is that per the DSM?
Yes.
Remember on Friday you said that the most important criteria is 7 days with continued high energy levels?
Yes.
So is it 7 days or is it 4 days? And who says?
Well, mania is 7 days. Hypomania is 4.
Discussed again, another does occur on December 1st, and that would be the Lemaitre sheet, right?
Yes.
And do you know in your records that she indicated that she was really struggling, and it was as a result of that you recommended that hospital program, correct?
Yes.
You agree that she had, in your opinion, a severe mental disturbance at that point that was manifesting itself?
She had a maybe moderate heading towards severe.
Moderate heading towards severe mental issue, okay. You'd agree with me that she had increased anxiety, right?
Yes.
She had very, very increased depression, right?
Well, she did. She said
Okay, so as you
since the
answer this,
Remeron.
just answer yes or no.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to check the record.
Okay, you can check the record all you want, but if I ask you a question respectfully, can you just not go on and ramble? Answer yes or no, that's all.
It's sometimes impossible to do that.
Oh,
There's
All right, listen, here, if you can't answer yes or no, just say you can't answer yes or no. If you can answer yes or no, answer yes or no. That's how we do it, all right?
okay.
Thank you. Now, mental issues like anxiety that was diagnosed, the depression that was diagnosed, and the fact that she indicated yet again that she was close to suicidal ideation, quote, worried about suicidal thoughts, but you indicated that she wasn't suffering from suicidal ideation on that day. Is that fair?
She denied it.
But she told you that she was worried about suicidal ideation and having suicidal thoughts, right?
Well, this was the time she said she was worried that she was close to having suicidal thoughts.
So So did you ask her, what does that mean? Does that mean that she's standing at the edge of the stairs and she's thinking about falling down the stairs, or what? What does that mean, close to suicidal ideation?
So I asked about that, and that's when she said she described it further as using the word hopeless.
So did you prescribe the lamotrigine on that occasion or no?
No.
On December 16th, that's the next appointment she had, right?
Yes.
That'd be 2 weeks later? Right?
Yes.
She was still not well, correct? She told you she was having a really rough time.
She was sleeping, but she was still feeling very poorly.
In your notes, does it say that she was having a really rough time?
Yes.
So when I asked you, if your notes reflected that she said she was having a really rough time, why do you feel compelled to say she was sleeping?
Objection.
Overruled.
It's an important detail.
Yeah, I guess. How about the rough time? What did that mean? What were the symptoms of having a really rough time for this kid?
Do you want me to?
Yeah, I'd like you to answer that.
So finally works, referring to the Valium and quetiapine, but very depressed during the day. No motivation, some SI. Do you want me to continue?
Sure.
Went to MGH emergency room for SI, declined inpatient, feeling hopeless, no intent or plan, and feels like depression related to Seroquel.
Okay. Now that's the question on Friday that, well, strike that. So what was the SI, suicidal ideation?
Yes.
And can you read that back to me again? What did she say about SI?
So that when she went to the hospital, she went because she had no motivation, some SI.
Some SI meaning that she had some suicidal ideation, right?
Yes,
Yes?
in her words, yes.
Yeah, in her words. As opposed to thinking about having suicidal ideation or worrying about suicidal ideation. She actually indicated that she had suicidal ideation, right?
I can't answer that as a yes or no.
Well, it's in your notes that she said that, right? Yes?
What is in my note?
Do you understand my question?
I'm a little bit confused right now. Can you repeat what your question is?
Sure, of course. We spent some time talking about thinking about suicidal ideation, worrying about suicidal ideation.
Yes.
And discharged from where?
Well, I said MGH.
Is that Mass General Hospital?
Yes.
And she was currently on trazodone.
Yes.
She indicated that the goal was to come off Seroquel,
Yes.
and she described herself as still being very numb.
Yes.
She couldn't sleep, right?
That's not entirely true.
Am I lying? I'm reading the medical records here. Sleep, taking Ativan and trazodone, slept 5 hours broken, wondering about increasing trazodone and switching to Valium. What does that mean?
Well, it means she was having trouble sleeping. It wasn't that she wasn't sleeping at all.
I see. Okay. So was the trazodone increased at that point?
Yes. Yes.
How about on January 9th? Did you see her through the computer or whatever then?
Yes.
And did you prescribe medication to her on that date?
Yes.
And was that diazepam?
Yes.
14 count, 1 milligram? No, I'm sorry, 14 count 5 milligrams.
That sounds right.
Okay. Did you also, on January 12th, 3 days after January 9th meeting, prescribe additional medication to her?
I'm not sure. I don't have a record from January 12th.
Do you recall on January 12th that, in fact, you prescribed trazodone 150 milligrams, 30 count?
Yes.
3 days later, or a couple of days later, January 16th, do you recall prescribing amitriptyline?
Yes.
What is amitriptyline?
It's a tricyclic antidepressant.
What does a tricyclic antidepressant mean?
Well, it's an older antidepressant. It's called a tricyclic because it has 3 rings. If you look at the chemical itself, like a tricycle, but it's an older but efficacious medicine for depression and anxiety as well as insomnia.
On January 16th, look at your interval history. She indicated to you that her mood was very low, no motivation,
Yes.
numb,
Yes.
able to force herself out of bed, taking care of basics, eating, concentration fine, caring for baby, bonding feels forced. Is that what she told you?
Yes.
Through the computer, right?
Yes.
What did that tell you? Were you concerned about this woman postpartum well within the year from the CDC at that point with these symptoms that she's telling you about?
I was concerned that she was depressed.
And in all of the times that you spoke to her, you'd agree with me that she appeared to be honest and forthright, telling you what she felt, right?
That's what I thought she was, yes.
Do you have any reason to think that she was lying to you?
No.
Diazepam taper on January 16th, 5 milligrams last 2 nights, slept for 4 hours, and then a light sleep, maybe 2 hours, stretches. Did she express that she was still having concerns about side effects from medications?
Not at that point.
So what does ROS mean under interval history that we're looking at?
Review of symptoms.
Okay. And then it says patient denies SIHI, that'd be suicidal ideation, homicidal ideation, correct?
Yes.
Denies other questions or concerns, and you recommend a low dose of amitriptyline for depression, correct?
Yes.
Patient agrees with the treatment, and you guys were also going to explore ketamine treatment. Is that right? Esketamine.
Yes.
Now, did you know that she was on her computer looking up medication after medication after medication after medication, treatments, ketamine treatments, and all that? Did you know that?
No.
Did you ever ask her whether or not she was looking up the symptomology of pharmacology and having interactions between drugs?
No.
January 23rd, you had that meeting, correct, with her?
Yes.
And this is after, obviously, excuse me, the January 16th appointment. And in the January 16th appointment, she told you that her mood was very low, and that's the worst that she ever reported her mood to you. Isn't that right?
On the 16th?
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the worst it was ever reported, but it was certainly bad.
And you didn't recommend that she have a hospital evaluation, did you? This is the day before she killed the kids, right?
The 23rd?
Yeah.
It was the day before.
You didn't recommend a hospital evaluation, did you?
No, there were no,
The answer is no?
no?
They'll ask you all the questions they want.
Okay.
Your answer is no. January 23rd, Friday, you testified that she said her mood was depressed, and you noted that her affect was depressed and flat, right?
Yes.
She also reported that her heart was racing, right?
Yes.
She had no motivation, is what she told you, right?
Yes.
She told you that she had been feeling, numb and no emotion for 17 days straight, is what she told you, right?
I'm not sure about 17 days straight, but that's how she was feeling.
You didn't reach out to her mother and father at that point? They didn't call you, I guess, right?
No.
And Patrick didn't call you at that point, right?
No.
So she's sitting in front of her computer getting help from her doctor on January 23rd. And what did you do?
Well, I thought about how I could best help her, the medicines that she'd tried and what her current symptoms were, and it made sense to slowly titrate the amitriptyline so that we could get her to a dose that reduced her depression so that she would feel better.
It increased the amitriptyline.
Yes.
That pushed her over the edge, didn't it?
I know.
You were also asked about evaluating the defendant for bipolar, and you said that she, based on your conversations with her, there were no signs of mania, correct?
Correct.
What are the types of questions you ask a patient to determine if they've experienced an episode of mania?
Well, a lot of it is what I can see in the session. I might also ask about some of those symptoms, like decreased need for sleep, or racing thoughts, or increased risk-taking activities. But even if they're reporting those things, I would have to really see it for myself to diagnose that.
And what would you see physically?
So I might see that the person is talking very fast, and it's almost impossible to interrupt their rate of speech. And it might also be very loud. They might be hyperactive, not able to sit still. They might be yelling and jumping from one thought to another without any linear connection between the thoughts. They might, I guess that's probably what I would observe in terms of behaviors.
Did you observe any of those behaviors with Lindsay Clancy?
No, it was the opposite.
What do you mean it was the opposite?
So, the opposite of euphoria is dysphoria or depression. The opposite of hyperactivity is tiredness and fatigue. So, in a way, it was the opposite of mania that I observed.
And in terms of the questions you asked about her past behavior, were any of the answers that she gave indicative of mania?
No.
You were asked about discussing Seroquel with the defendant, even though you weren't the prescriber. Why did you discuss that medication with her?
Because the patient was asking about it, and her husband was also asking me about it. They really wanted my opinions about it. It wasn't necessarily that I was prompting this line of conversation.
And what did you tell them about it?
Well, I shared that it has very good evidence for treating depression, and I may have shared that Seroquel does different things at different doses, right? So sometimes people are concerned that it is called an antipsychotic, but it actually doesn't function as an antipsychotic until you get up to really high doses, like 800 milligrams. So in low doses, it's more of a sleep medicine or an antidepressant. So I think that I explained that to them, and it's obviously a very important part of it. But they were also concerned about that causing the depression that she was experiencing. So we talked a bit about how you would tell. It kind of can be hard to tell whether a medicine is causing that or it's just occurring because of depression.
What did you tell them in terms of how to tell?
That it's really based on the timing. If you were to notice a significant decline after starting or increasing the medication.
And prior to Ms. Clancy taking the Seroquel, had you noticed signs of depression in her?
Yes.
And after she was off of the Seroquel in January, did you see signs of depression in her?
Yes.
So that was completely off of Seroquel, both before and after, still showing signs of depression?
Yes.
During January, the defendant told you she had trouble getting out of bed?
Is there a specific visit?
I think it was right after she got out of the hospital. Maybe your first or second visit with her.
I see that on the 16th, she did say that she was able to force herself out of bed and take care of basics, so on and so forth.
Were you aware that she had gone to the Museum of Science with her family on January 8th and spent a few hours there interacting with the exhibits and the children?
No.
Were you aware on January 15th, the day before that session, she had been to the Cape Codder down in Hyannis with the family, interacting with the kids and going down little water slides and all of that?
No.
Were you aware that on January 14th, she watched all three kids while Pat went to a brunch and was fine?
No.
Were you aware that on January 16th, her husband took Cora skiing and she was alone with the boys all day and had no issues?
No.
You were asked about the thyroid and how that can affect mental health and postpartum. Were you aware that at both South Shore Hospital and Brigham and Women's Hospital, her thyroid limits were in normal range?
No, I was not.
You received a discharge summary from McLean Hospital?
Yes.
What's contained in the discharge summary?
So it includes information about how the patient initially presented, what they said when they first came to the hospital, and their initial assessment from the psychiatrist that they spoke with. It talks a bit about their treatment course, how things progressed, any changes that were made, and then it talks about how the patient appears on the day of discharge.
Does it also include what medications they were prescribed and what the diagnosis might have been?
Yes.
And was that sufficient in terms of your review of the information that you needed for you to know about your patient at that time?
Yes, that was a very helpful amount of information that I would typically review that amount of information for a patient after the hospital. Now, you were asked about your January 23rd, 2023 session with the defendant. Defense counsel asked if you had, recommended a hospital evaluation for her on that day, and you said no. Why not? Because she was completely denying any suicidal ideation or homicidal ideation. There were no signs of psychosis or mania, so there were no serious signs that her safety or that anyone else's safety was at risk. And during that session, did she ever tell you that she planned to harm herself or the children? No. If she had done that, what would you have done? I would have, it depends exactly how it would have played out. It would definitely include hospitalization. If the children were in immediate harm, it might include enlisting help from my staff so that they could call the police while I'm on the phone with her. I think it depends, but I would address it promptly.
You were asked by defense counsel about the amitriptyline that you prescribed on January 16th, 2023. That initial prescription was for 10 milligrams, correct?
Yes.
Explain the bottle from exhibit 155 of amitriptyline. Would you agree with me that this shows that the prescription was filled on that same day, January 16th, 2023?
Yes.
And out of this pill bottle here, there were 30 pills in this prescription, correct?
Yes.
And there are only 8 pills missing from this bottle. So filled on January 16th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd would be 8 days, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And on the 23rd is when you said she could raise it to 20 milligrams?
Yes.
So if there are only 8 pills missing, she never took that additional dose, correct?
That's what I would think based on what you just said.
So the amitriptyline, increasing it to from 10 milligrams to 20 milligrams, wouldn't have pushed her over the edge, correct?
Well, if she didn't take 20 milligrams, then that's correct.
I have nothing further, thank you.
All right. Then recross.
Briefly. So one of the questions that prosecutor asked you pertained to whether or not you could reach out to a third party. You recall that question, like mother, father, husband?
Yes.
And we already on cross talked about that you didn't, and they didn't call you, but then the DA also raised that, and you said you didn't have HIPAA permission. You recall just telling that to the jury?
Yes. That was an additional detail.
All right. So what does that mean?
Well, HIPAA is the privacy law for patients, which we have to respect and honor very diligently. So we are not allowed to talk about a patient's treatment to anyone. We're not even allowed to say that they are a patient at our clinic unless they were to waive those HIPAA rights.
And she was very cooperative, would have been more than willing to have you talk to her mother and father and her husband, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
Well, did you ever tell her, ask her to sign a HIPAA form?
So that was not the main reason why it wasn't done. It wasn't
Ever ask her to sign a form?
a release, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. No, I did not ask her to sign a release.
And if she did sign the release, even though her mother, her father, her husband didn't call you, you could have then reached out to them, right?
I could have, but it is not typically something that is done when you have an adult patient who's able to speak for themselves.
Yeah, what is that? It's not typically done when?
When you have an adult patient who is able to speak for themselves.
My God, you don't call the parents that she's living with because they're helping her or her husband?
No.
Because why? She's able to advocate for herself?
Yes.
Prosecutor yet again raises the issue of the marijuana. Do you recall that question?
Yes.
She wasn't smoking marijuana, was she?
She did not tell me she was smoking marijuana.
Did she tell you that she was using marijuana?
No.
Did she tell you that she was using gummies?
No.
Did she, because gummies in plural is what the DA asked you, right? That she was using gummies?
Yes.
Now, I asked you about getting access to the Women and Infants Hospital records, which you did not. Which you did not, right?
I did not.
And we already went over that. You could have, if you asked for them with a HIPAA form, right?
Objection. Didn't ask about those records.
I don't care if she asked about the
Beyond the
records.
scope.
Overruled. You can ask that question.
She asked you about marijuana gummies, right?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I would offer the Women and Infants Hospital records from Rhode Island dealing with Lindsay Clancy.
No objection.
Okay, they may be admitted.
I just want to look at them at some point to make sure it's a clean copy.
Sure, yeah. Before it goes to the jury, you can review it.
And it's important for it's important for a patient to be forthright when asked questions by their provider, right?
Yes.
And you always, in your opinion, found her to be forthright, right?
Yes.
If I could approach you with Exhibit 220, excuse me, and see the second paragraph, it begins in the middle of November. Could you read that first sentence?
In the middle of November, she tried taking a marijuana edible to help her sleep, which caused her to have increased anxiety and palpitations.
So, the records, if you had obtained them, you would have seen that it was not marijuana, it was not gummies, plural. It was one gummy that she tried, and it didn't work out, right?
Based on what I just read, yes.
Then you told us that there's a difference between a thought of suicide versus a plan of suicide, one of which would result, in your words, were a commitment, right?
Yes.
What does that mean? Thought versus plan equals commit.
A suicidal plan means that they are, they know exactly what they're going to do to end their life, what they're going to use, maybe when they're going to do it, they've researched it, and that presents an immediate threat, and that is something that would require hospitalization.
District Attorney had asked you also about the thyroid levels, and you indicated, or she indicated that they were in the low range at Mass General Hospital, Reed. Is that correct?
I thought she said they were normal.
Oh, I thought she said low, but normal or low. MGH, Mass General Hospital, right?
Sorry, what's the question?
District Attorney asked you whether or not they were thyroid reads. Do you remember that question?
She said her thyroid had been tested.
The question now is, do you remember that question that she asked you that you answered with no problem?
Yes.
Okay. And your response was that, my memory, this is jurors' accounts, that it was low reads, MGH, and South Shore Hospital. Is that right?
I thought she said that it was normal, or within normal limits.
Almost fine. We'll go with normal. So your memory is that there were thyroid blood level reads of Lindsay Clancy from 2 healthcare providers. Is that correct?
Yes.
One would be Mass General Hospital, right?
I don't remember exactly. I think she said yes. I think she said Mass General.
Okay. Do you remember where the other hospital healthcare provider was?
It might have been South Shore.
Do you know what date those were?
No.
Those are old reads, weren't they?
I don't know.
One of the things that the district attorney asked you about on a number of occasions that seems to be important is if the person that you're treating has, I guess, what do they call it, pressured speech?
Yes.
And you told us repeatedly that you never detected that Lindsay had pressured speech, right?
Correct.
I'm sorry?
Correct.
Looking at the record from October 21st, would you...
Objection is writing on this.
Oh, all right. You know what? I'll ask her to just look at it.
Might take a look at it, and if you want to get the actual exhibit, we could do that.
All right. So forget all about my sloppy writing. I'm looking here on October 21st of 22. Is that correct, right up there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And can you just read this paragraph here for us?
No. Sorry. No sleep last night. Falls asleep after 40 minutes. Heart racing, severe anxiety. Worrying about kids, baby, sleep. Yawns but not drowsy. Not hyper, pressured speech.
What was that? Not hyper what?
Not hyper, not pressured speech is what I meant. I know it doesn't say not, but that is exactly what I meant.
When did you see this, that you noticed that it did not say not?
I don't care what it says. I know what I meant.
Well, when you wrote this, you did not say not pressured speech. You said in the medical record, pressured speech, right?
No.
Does it say that?
Yeah, the word is the word not is right before not hyper, comma, pressured speech.
Right,
The two
so what
are
does
following
what does
the
a comma mean
not.
to you? When you put down in a medical record, heart racing, comma, severe anxiety, comma, worried about kids, comma, baby, comma, sleep, comma, yawns but not drowsy, period. Not hyper, comma, pressured speech. That's what you wrote, right?
She did not have pressured
Did you write
speech.
that, doctor?
I wrote that, but you're misinterpreting my note.
Am I reading this correctly, and the jury will be able to look at it, that you put not hyper, comma, pressured speech? Did I read that right?
Yes, but your interpretation is incorrect.
As opposed to yours? That's all I have.
Just in regards to what was raised there.
Yes, just two brief issues. Approaching you with your records from October 21st, 2022, the section labeled speech, where there are all the boxes where you can put pressured, word salad, all of the different things. What do you check off for speech on October 21st, 2022?
Appropriate.
And defense asked you about the thyroid levels. Would it be accurate to state that I asked you if you were aware that her levels were normal at South Shore Hospital and Brigham and Women's Hospital?
Yes.
And your answer was no, correct?
No, I was not aware.
Because you don't have those records, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Do we have any clue as to how old they were?
I don't know. You're asking me about something I never saw.
All right.
Nothing further.
All right. Anything further? All right. Thank you, Doctor.